Welcome to the Dialogue KE. Now tonight on the Dialogue KE, I'm joined by a true icon of Kenya's second liberation, Reverend Timoth Njoya, to help us dissect this whole matter on the state of the nation. Karibu sana, Reverend.
Thank you very much.
Rev, I know you are a retired cleric. We were having a discussion earlier on before the show began, and you told me that you are a house husband. What have you been doing since?
Yes, when I retired, when men retired, they said, I'm going to become a Juakari. They went and sat down, ate, slept, and then very few lived more than 2 years. They died of atrophy, senility. They rotted. They didn't live long because nothing the body is more than endurance or resonance, staying idle. Yeah. So for me, when I retired, I said I'm going to become a house husband.
So because
because I knew in my home, women, housewives, do cultivate coffee, tea, milk cows, look after children, and therefore they live in Kenya between 21 and 31 years longer than men. That activity keeps their bodies alive. So I wanted to live as long as women. I am now 82 and I have 56 more years to live.
56 more years?
Yes.
That's amazing. I mean, many people are watching right now. They are young Kenyans and they do not actually relate with the struggle that you went through. But there's actually a section of Kenyans who actually identify the difficult period of the second liberation. I mean, what really motivated you then?
I should have begun not by the question of what I did when I retired. I should have begun where Jesus began and ended and left me to continue. Jesus, when he left in the world, he said, he sent his disciples to go into all the world and make all nations his disciples. When I had never experienced, since I was born, even my parents, Kenya being a nation, they experienced Kenya being a market. So there was no nation to make a disciple of Jesus Christ in Kenya or in Africa because we were all European overseas markets. Kenya in 1888, Imperial British Company were given a charter by Queen Victoria because Britain didn't want to colonize Kenya. It thought it was a wasteland full of the worthless property, full of hostile tribes. So the Freshers of Scotland, of which the members of the Ibea William Mackinnon belonged, being Ibea, an evangelistic, a church evangelistic company. So it came and started in Kenya and got a charter to govern Kenya and to rule Kenya according to the principles which they governed Kenya of the market. So now, and now when I was born, or since 1988, Kenya was governed as a market. When Ibea ran bankrupt, they sold Kenya for 250 million pounds to various British, to the colonial office. It ran it as a market and very profitably until 1920 when the British saw it can be run and it regretted and withdrew its charter without revoking it. It discarded the Victoria Charter and it declared Kenya a colony and protected. You remember 1920? So Kenya was not a colony until 1920. What was it before? A market. See, they did not transform Kenya. A colony is a market still, where people are traded with. So, and when Queen Victoria took over from Queen Elizabeth, so she continued with Kenya as an inheritance, as a market. When she passed on to Kenyatta inherited from Queen Victoria Kenya as a market. So Kenya politicians, including presidents, and they are slave trading companies. They are slave traders. All Kenya traders, all Kenya's politicians, all Kenya politicians are slave traders. They trade with us. Their interest is what they get, money, all those things, by trading with our votes and with our numbers. So I'm saying that my work when I was called in 19 to become a church minister, a cleric, a kasisi, was to transform Kenya from a market
To a nation.
into a nation. Have we succeeded by the Kenya Constitution 2021 to transform Kenya from a market into a nation? We removed the Lancaster Constitution, which was actually a charter, a repeat of the 1888 charter, but written and handed over, instead of being handed over to William McKinnon, it was handed over to Kenyatta too. I want to give you 3 words. To maintain 3 words, which were the ethos and the principles and the spirit of the Kenya Constitution, Lancaster, 3 words. To maintain the stability, the continuity, and the profitability of Kenya as a British overseas market. So we tried to change Kenya from a market and now threw away the Lancaster Constitution, which was a charter given to Kenyatta and his henchmen to continue ruling Kenya as a British overseas market, but now as their market. Now, what you are asking me is what have you fulfilled the commission of Jesus Christ to make Kenya
a nation?
No, his disciple. You cannot make a market Jesus' disciple. So you have first of all transformed Kenya from a market into a nation so that you obey Jesus Christ's command. Make all nations my disciples. So my work is to make Kenya a nation, and in order to make it a disciple of Jesus, people who respect each other's sovereignty, who love one another as they love God, people who relate one another as equal and sovereign. And now therefore we wrote the Constitution.
Now, Rev, you struggled for Kenya to actually have a new constitution, and in 2010, it was actually promulgated.
We praised the charter, the British charter to Kenyatta, to make Kenya to continue with the stability and the continuity and profitability of Kenya as a market, not as a nation. Even Kenyatta knew this. He said, his cliche was, let us build the nation. From what? And with what? You cannot build, you cannot have a political party. All Kenyan politicals are trading, slave traders, slave trading companies. You cannot make a Kanu, help Kanu to build a nation. Even today, politicians are marketing people to 2 biggest slave trading companies today. What are they? It was Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. These are the ones trading, to whom politicians are trading with us.
So, in short, you mean that this is not the Kenya that you envisioned for as you fought for this?
No, it's the lack of. I'm not formed. I would like now to transform Kenya politicians and the political parties to be consistent with the Kenya Constitution, to follow the Kenya, to obey the Kenya Constitution, which defines people as sovereign, not as commodities. But now we are being traded with as commodities, profitable commodities.
Is it the reason why you say that never trust an animal called a politician?
Yes, I should have said a slave trader. Because they are trading with who? Imagine you go to parliament and you become a millionaire overnight. I counted 1988. I counted the number of politicians and constituencies in Kenya. We divided the money the politicians got within 5 years. About 2.4 billion, or about that. No company other than being a politician made as much money within 5 years. Only Microsoft. Kenyans make more money by being politicians than companies that sell TVs. Even they make more money than Safaricom by just being politicians. And therefore, if you count how much, whether by corruption, whether by auctioneering, whether by trading with a license or selling wafers. Kenyan politicians make more money by being politicians than Microsoft.
But you see, Reverend, these politicians are actually put into power by Kenyans. So could you say that Kenyans are actually...
They are treated with. That's why I call them commodities. Yeah. They are commoditized. When we go to vote, let me tell you the first voters. We were voting for 8 MPs, 1956 elections, for each MP representing a province. If you read, I can show you, it is here in my telephone. The voters were voted because they were given a license to vote or paper, permit to vote for royalties, for being royalists and helping the British government to defeat the Mau Mau. Those are the people who voted. You could not stand for elections if you were not a royalist. The first elections in which was given internal self-government. You know, the first Madaraka Day, the Madaraka government was given to royalists by the governor. Yes.
Well, Rev, right now we have a supremacy battle between the judiciary, the executive, and the parliament. We're actually seeing the president actually threatening to disobey court orders.
This constitution is not theirs. The Lancashire constitution is still their constitution. They have not shifted. Didn't you see BBI? Bringing the back door, looking through the back, through the window, through the back door. They were quoted fought for by the Constitutional Court, the Njoya case. Because the chapter 1 to 6 is actual constitution of my theory. So I'm saying they should have said the Njoya theory rather than, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm a theorist, I'm a believer, I'm a doctrinaire. I make doctrines. That's my work as a theologian, to formulate various texts of the Bible into communicable sense. So I'm saying, what you are talking about, people not following the constitution, it is not theirs yet. Kenya is their market. If you have to transform these politicians in the state to follow the Kenya constitution, Kenya would become a nation. We are in the process of being a nation. But ask me, don't blame people for being commoditized. Don't blame the victim for being victimized. Like we blame women for being raped, don't we? That's why they are not able to report rape, because they'll get stigmatized. They will be called prostitutes. They will be blamed for being raped. What about the rapists? What are they called? They are not called prostitutes. They are not called those bad names. Whom do we stigmatize for being raped? They raped. You see, so when we blame the voters for voting, for being given unga, being given 200 shillings to vote by somebody, to vote for them, being their followers, how many people are money are given? I'm in Gong, that's where I live. People are being given money to come for Mandamano to Horo Park. 200 shillings each, and they accept because they have no other things to do by the organizers. So I'm saying, if you are traded with, you cannot be blamed for going to throw stones. Would you be? I'm asking you. Have you ever thrown stones?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yeah.
How much money were you given? Just confess. I know you are saved.
I've thrown stones, but not in demonstrations.
Yeah?
Not in demonstrations.
No, I mean, have you been given money?
To throw stones?
Yes.
No, I've never.
But you know, people don't throw stones for nothing. Yeah.
So you actually don't blame the voters?
I don't blame the stone throwers. I would like the police to kill them or to brutalize them. I wouldn't like those who break windows. I don't like. They have already demoralized. They have suffered morally. They have been dehumanized. They have been commoditized. So I'm not defending them to do evil, but I'm saying they are evilized. They are made evil. They are commoditized. They are made property for being traded with. For what? For power. For money. Because those people who trade with them, I told you how much they make more money than Safaricom. within 5 years when they're in parliament. By what they did and what they correct and how much they are given, commissions, all those money. If you I counted in myself how much I said Kenyans, politicians were making more money in 1988 than Microsoft.
Yeah. And Rev, I know you're a retired cleric, but actually the religious leaders are also, we can also say that they're also part of the problem, because many of these politicians during the elections were coming into churches and...
Religious leaders are brokers. Yeah. How much money are we given in the church by politicians to become their brokers, to reach them, to access the people? And I'm saying, the Christians don't come to church to worship. They come to look for and to access their market. And who are their brokers? Their pastors. So if you are politicians, notice a politician there and tell him to stand and talk. You count how much he is going to gain as a broker. You cannot do that for nothing. I don't know any minister, church minister, or clergyman or priest who does welcome politicians to his church for nothing.
So they're all brokers?
They are all brokers, those who do that. Yeah.
Some will argue that these politicians are actually members of the church, and you just have to give them a platform.
Do you give all members of the church platform when they enter the church? Do you? You lead them into worship. They came to worship. They didn't come for brokerage, for salesmanship. You are selling the members to slave traders. You are trading with your congregation for benefit, for profit. And actually that Kenyatta was given a Lancaster Constitution, which was written by Mackenzie of Lancaster University, a draft which they discussed in Lancaster for 3 times, written to guarantee Britain that Kenya will remain a stable, will continue and remain a stable overseas market. And it remained, and when Kenyatta was given, instead of being paid reparation, he was given 63 billion pounds to come and buy land from the white settlers. You know, the Maasai people, when that was given, they led by Oretepes and Kochera. They stormed out and came back to Kenya. They left only 10 Maasai delegates. Left when they saw their land was being being traded with. They refused to stay to the head of the... I know other people who walked out. The 2 Somali delegates walked out because they knew they had no chance of regaining because they wanted secession. You see, so I'm not supposing secession, but they should have been allowed to negotiate for being Kenyans if they were to be sovereign, even in Kenya. But they were not allowed the voice to negotiate. Therefore, they were treated as shifter. And therefore, when I preached here at St. Andrews, against the Magamara massacre in 1984, you know what they did? I got to the people in Garissa, and I went there also to during Kenyatta's Kibaki, to commemorate the Wagara massacre. Men came from Garissa to bring me 2 ladies as a gift to hire to Jamhuri. 2 ladies as a gift. And I was very, very happy, given I have 2, 3 wives now because of my wife was in Mozambique. She used to become I was very happy. I tell them, this is very happy. But the problem is that my wife is already 7 wives, and you don't have more than 4. It's already enough. Yeah. So, you see, the question is, but I didn't reject their gift. But I said that I don't want a human, we are equal with them. I believe in the equality of men And I preached to them that when God created Adam, He created them as one person, male and female. You get me?
Yeah.
And He gave them equal authority to govern the earth, to govern the birds of the air, the ships, the fish of the sea, and to govern everything, and to govern the garden. Only not to eat the forbidden tree. But I said that since the rule was given, the sovereignty was given to both men and women, where did the man gain the sovereignty? From sin, by eating the forbidden fruit. Otherwise, they were created equal. And God said, let the man leave his wife, his father and mother, and is joined to his wife, and they become one, because they are equal. You get me? So when I preach a new constitution and a new dispensation, what do I mean? I mean reclaiming our God-given sovereignty from the market. You get me? From the rulers. We are supposed to rule and govern ourselves. We are sovereign. This is why we do universal suffrage, to go and... you told me, first of all, you have not asked the question you told me here to come and... I'm not... You are always getting... I want to get there quickly, because now we are talking about things that distract us from being a nation.
Yeah, actually, we are building up to there. And
Yeah.
last year, we actually saw the opposition go to the streets to fight for the high economic situation in the country. And actually, a national dialogue committee was formed, and a report was released. And unfortunately, the opposition says that they will resume the protest since the issue of the high cost of living was not addressed. Do you support this decision by the opposition to go back?
Now you are telling me to talk not about the state of the nation, but the state of Ruto and Raila. They are not the nation. The government is not there. The judiciary is not the nation. The parliament is not the... They are organs.
Part of the nation.
They are organs of governance. You understand?
Yeah.
The organs through which they are paid by the people to... Because people are the owners of the nation. They are the nation. The nation is the people.
Yeah.
These people, you are asking me, you have regarded them as the nation, but actually they are robbers of the nation from the people. They are the ones who have stolen, they are slave traders. They trade with us. That's why they get power. They don't trade with us for us to be rich like them. They don't trade us for us to be wealthier, because, you know, for them, they are dynasties. Dynasty from Queen Victoria to Queen Elizabeth, from Queen Elizabeth to Kenyatta, and from Kenyatta to Moi, and so forth, and Moi to Ruto, and to Raila, and to Kibaki. All these are dynasties. They are dynasties of the British Empire. So all I'm asking you, not dynasties of Kenya. So I'm asking, Kenya does not have dynasties. Dynasties are not born by voters. They are born by the British. They root from 1888, when Victoria gave Kenya, a company, a charter, to govern Kenya as a British overseas. And we are trying to transform it into a nation even now. So don't ask me about dynasties.
So do you mean that...
Ask me about me and you. Are we dynasties?
So what is the state of the nation according to you?
The state of the nation is that we are Aruta Continua. We are still in the process. We are still in the process of achieving what Jesus commissioned us to do. That's why I wanted to begin, but you asked me other questions. Jesus commissioned us to make all nations his disciples. People who love God as themselves, who love themselves as God with all their heart and mind, and they love each other, not tribes. But Jesus did not come to tell, even he did not say it's not bad, it's bad to be a Jew or a Greek or a Roman, but he came to make all these inclusive, so that all people may love one
another.
Yeah. So I'm here not to tell tribes to disband or political parties to disband, or Ruto to disband himself. I'm only telling him to be inclusive of Raila. That's what, to be inclusive of all Kenyans. Be inclusive of all Kenyans. I'm not telling Raila not to be Raila, but I'm telling Raila to be inclusive of all Kenyans. Not to fight against or struggle with any or compete with any. For what? For money, but money as people. And for what? For power as people. But people owe their power not from them, but from God. We are given this country by God, and this country is us. This nation is all of us. And I beg you to agree that you are the nation. Me and you, we are the nation.
You are the nation.
We are the nation.
Yeah. But also
Not
actually,
the politicians, not the political party, not the state, not the judiciary, not the parliament. These are our instruments of governance. They are our tools of governance. And our tools cannot dictate to their maker. We are their God. You and I. They cannot come and dictate to their maker how to behave. It is us, their maker, just as we cannot dictate to God, our maker, what to tell us. They cannot dictate to us or tell us what to do. They have to ask us what we want them to do. That's what I call sovereignty. That's what I call freedom. That's what I call humanity. I like somebody called Augustine. St. Augustine said that the chief head of man, he said man, but he meant humanity. The chief head of humanity is to serve God, and he serve and one and other people, and in serving him, enjoy God. Yeah. We are ultimately who we are, head in themselves. You get that? That's what I share with idiots. They believe that they don't say we owe ourselves to God. That's the difference. But they say we are sovereign. We are inherited. Even Karl Marx said that we are born with the right to be human, to govern ourselves, not to be owned and ruled by the bourgeoisie or anyone else.
So you've actually said that.
And
Kenyans,
he said, that's why he talked about a stateless society. State is a creature of the people for governing themselves. I'm not saying we can have a stateless society, just as I can say a farmer can do without a panga. And I cannot say a farmer can do without a panga or a jebe. You know what the state is? All judiciary and parliament and all these politicians, they are majebe. They are our pangas. They cannot come and cut us because they are our tools. I know farmers can cut themselves and wood themselves.
And are the tools working for the benefit of Kenyans?
Not at the moment. Not visibly.
According to you, what is not really working well?
What is not working is that we are dictating the people what we want them to have, not asking them what they want to have. Not asking them, what do you want to have? What do you want? That's why we put in the Constitution that public participation. You understand?
Yeah.
So that we govern people by their own will. The will of the people, not the will of the panga and the jebe and the car to take us where it wants.
Yeah.
Okay? We want to use tools to help us, not for tools to use us. We don't want to become the dog which is swung by its own, wagged by its own tail.
Yeah.
We want to wag the state. And the state is three things. It's the executive, judiciary, and the parliament. We want them to behave like tools in our own hearts, not us in their hearts. Yes.
And you've said that actually Kenya is in the process.
We're in the process. But when 1920, when we adopted the new constitution, we adopted the charter of being British Overseas Market, which was ranked as a constitution. but Ken's document. We wrote our own document of who we want to be and define ourselves.
Yeah.
And we wrote it in the first pass. In the very first, we are the God. Because we are under God and we are creating a state to be under us. Do you see the similarity? Mm-hmm. We are
under God.
We are God's creature. And the state is our creature. Mm-hmm. We cannot let the creature to govern its gods. Mm-hmm. And we are its gods.
So as we conclude, what should Kenyans do to actually
be able to be sensible, not to be marketable, not to be sellable to anybody, not to be bought by any money or by any promise of any kind. To tell them not to promise us, to tell them, to ask us what we want. That's what we want. Mm-hmm. That's what we should demand. Mm-hmm. Tell us, ask our views. Ask
the views of
before
Kenyans.
You do something, make your own garrow poll and ask where we are and what we want. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, what's your parting shot as we conclude? What's your parting shot as we finish?
That to tell people that to obey they are God's creation. Mm-hmm. And when whoever is in Christ is a new creation. I want them to be not only God's creation, old one. I want them to be new people, being God's new creation, and to know that until they are that new God's creation, it's almost impossible to serve God's interest, to serve God's will. And we all pray and tell them, anytime they pray, that will be done on us as it is in heaven. Mm-hmm. To know only a nation can do God's will. And people, nation, is an Latin word meaning born together, NATO. Clinics are called antenatal, where children are born. Mm-hmm. We are called a nation because we are born by one mother. The nation, I don't know who the mother is, but I know our parent is God.
Yeah.
I will sometimes be like to pray, our mother who is at heaven, hallowed be thy name, because we are children of God. When we say God, we are children of God. We don't ask ourselves that God does not have gender. So he is also a mother. So I want to tell Kenyans passing short. When they respect God, they are respecting their mothers. And they are respecting their honor like father and mother as you honor God. Mm-hmm. Because these are the God's will. Mm-hmm. We were born, we came into this world. And I'm saying that when I meet you, I know I'm meeting myself. A reflection of likeness with God. Mm-hmm. Doesn't the Bible say that? God created us in his own
likeness.
I'm meeting a likeness of God, a reflection of God, and therefore to respect you is to respect God.
All right. I guess that's a very good point to end our discussion tonight. Many thanks, Rev, for making time for us. Mm-hmm. That has been Reverend Timoth Njoya, a true icon of Kenya's second liberation. Many thanks to you also for making time for us, and to the whole team that made this broadcast a success. Have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation has been Boniface Morithi.